Wait for the welcome and then just in time.
All right.
All right, I think we're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is Pendulums 101 getting started. I'm Lana Gendlin, and I'm here with my other half.
I'm Karina Muller, and we are here today to talk about everything pendulums. Hope you are excited. We are so excited.
Yes. First of all, we just want to give a big shout out to Llewellyn. They have been amazing. We are first-time authors. We're super excited for the launch of our book. It's called Pendulums and Intuition, Practical Advice for Trusting Your Inner Wisdom. And this has just been a dream project in the making. We just want to thank all of our friends and our team and everybody that we've worked with at Llewellyn, as well as Shelley Kerr, who is also a presenter here. She wrote the foreword for our book. So thank you all so much. We know that this is a big endeavor to get this going.
Yes, and so we're excited that all of you have joined us here today. We love pendulums. We love to talk about pendulums, and we love to teach about pendulums. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we are covering today. So we'll talk a little bit about who we are and why we're here and why we're doing what we're doing. We're going to explain what pendulums are, and then we're going to teach all of you how to calibrate a pendulum. If you don't have a pendulum, don't worry. You can always access this recording on YouTube later on. And then we're also going to teach you a little bit about the art of asking questions, because when you work with a pendulum, it's all about how to ask the right questions. And then we'll hopefully have some time for a little bit of Q&A.
We will definitely try to leave time for Q&A. So we're going to monitor the chat. So please feel free to post questions in there. And then we will do our best to save some time in the end so that everybody can ask some questions. So with that, we will dive right in. And because we are, new authors, we thought we would start with just sharing a little bit about our story. Karina and I actually met while we were both getting our life coach certification, and we kept getting placed in breakout rooms together. And so we're always like, oh, it's you again. And we decided that we should meet in person. And this was all happening over COVID. So everything was virtual. So when we met, we really started working together on various coaching projects, and we needed a creative outlet. So we started making jewelry absolutely for fun, just to take a break from all the business that we were, involved in. And one day, Karina was she was wrestling with a question. I don't even remember what it was, but I said, Karina, have you ever tried using a pendulum to get your answer? And she looked at me like, what is
a pendulum?
Yeah.
So Lana had explained to me what a pendulum was, and she had showed me how to calibrate it for my yes and for my no
using my necklace.
Yeah. So about a week later, I showed up and I gave Lana a gift. I handcrafted a pendulum, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just really fun to make. And before you know it, our friends and family are asking us, what are these things? And we were just so excited making them as gifts for friends and family. And then we were invited to do some pop-ups and some trunk shows at local boutiques and galleries. So before you know it, we are all in crafting pendulums, selling pendulums, as well as educating our customers on how to use pendulums to live your best life.
Yeah, absolutely. And, for us, it's so much more than just creating pendulums. We love to create our own one-of-a-kind handcrafted pendulums, but really, we coach under the philosophy that you have all the answers to your questions already inside of you. And so many of us just don't know how to trust ourselves a lot of times. Or it's not even that we don't know how, we just don't really exercise our intuitive muscle. Your intuition is your superpower, and it is like a muscle. And the more you work with it, the more you practice trusting yourself, the stronger your intuition gets. And when you listen to your intuition and really follow what is true and authentic for you, that is when you really feel in alignment with yourself. You feel joy, you feel, exuberant, and you're at your best. So our goal is really to help empower people to tap into all that wisdom that they have inside of them, trust their intuition, and do it with the help of a pendulum, because it is such an amazing tool. And this is an ancient tool that has been around for thousands of years, and so many people aren't aware of pendulums. I think our audience here, most people probably are aware of pendulums, but you're probably here because you're interested in learning how to get started.
So hopefully you have your pendulum handy. And if not, take a moment and go get it, because we're all going to be working with our pendulums. And if you don't have a pendulum at the moment, we invite you to either buy one or make one, because it's so easy to create one. And our book does outline some really, really helpful steps as to how you can build your own pendulum.
Yeah.
But most importantly is when you work with a pendulum, it's great to have a strong bond and a strong connection with your pendulum. So if you are about to buy one, if you're about to make one, just use your own intuitive wisdom. But when you feel connected to this ancient, beautiful, incredible tool, you will likely go to your pendulum for all kinds of guidance all day long. And when you do that, you will notice your life will start to transform, because you will stop doing your life with a lot of trial and error. And instead, you are going to step into a state of flow. And when you're in a state of flow, I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, because we all have our lessons that we came here to learn in this earthly incarnation. But when you are in alignment with the universe, and when you are listening to universal guidance, you are going to really truly flow and be in alignment. And that is when the magic and the synchronicities and all kinds of beautiful, beautiful stuff starts happening for you and for your life and for those around you.
Yeah, so what is a pendulum? I mean, I don't know if everybody is familiar with what a pendulum is, but here is one of our pendulums. And a pendulum is a tool. It's actually a tool. A lot of times people, think that, a pendulum moves in a certain direction to show you a yes answer and a certain direction to show you a no answer. But you have to calibrate it to understand how it moves for you. What is your yes and what is your no? You can also calibrate it to show you what is your maybe and what is your not now, which just means you're not ready to receive that information. So a lot of times we hear, well, what's moving the pendulum? And, is it magic? What is it? And, the pendulum is a tool. The magic is really inside of you. What the pendulum does is actually connects with your intuition. It taps into your subconscious at a default level. We always recommend that you also work with your optimal spiritual team, your angels, your spirit guides, any ascended masters, the universe, God, source, the divine, whatever resonates for you. So you're using this tool to really extract what is buried deep inside of you and raise it to the surface in a visual way, a really clear visual way.
So remember, when you start working with a pendulum, if you don't specify the source of where your answers are coming from, you will default to your subconscious, which is still an amazing place to get guidance, because your subconscious stores everything you've ever learned, experienced, every movie you watched, every book you read, every conversation you've had, every emotion you've ever felt. All of that is stored within us. And when you tap into the beautiful source of information, you are using all this wisdom and knowledge that you have accumulated to help you guide yourself. But if you want the answers to come from your divine team, your angels, your guides, or anyone else who you feel connected to, please invite them.
Yes.
And all you do is you invite them in, and then you can ask your pendulum, are you with me? So if you're inviting your spirit guides, you're inviting your angels, just ask, are you with me? And you will get a movement, a yes movement or a no movement as an answer. So just remember, as a default, it's your subconscious. If you want to connect to another source, invite them in.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. We are all co-creators. So we are working in tandem with spirit and with our guides to source these answers. Our book covers, the history of pendulums, the science behind pendulums, how to pick your pendulum, how to care for your pendulum, how to apply your pendulum to your everyday life. So this is really a book that I guess, if we knew nothing about pendulums, that we would use as a resource to guide us through. And the other thing is, before you start a pendulum session, and this is if you're doing some deeper work, you really want to get yourself in a good state of mind and really grounded. You just want to be free and open to let the universe show you your answer, right? So sometimes when we are charged up about a certain situation, or we're not feeling well, we're sick, that might not be the best time to use your pendulum.
And another thing to remember is, if you are really truly tied to a certain outcome, you may actually see that outcome in your pendulum answer. So the key to that is to stay detached. You want the wisdom to show up, not your attachment to the outcome.
And that's why getting grounded really, really helps. So there's a comment in the chat. I find that I have a strong connection with a tool when I make it. Thank you, Laura. That's a great comment. And yes, you want to really connect with any tool that you're working with. Your pendulum is a very personal tool, and it is like an extension of you, because it's a part of you. It's a part of your soul. We actually say you are, when you're using your pendulum, it's like you're having an honest conversation with your soul. So making a pendulum or finding a pendulum that really speaks to you and having that bond, really establishing a strong connection with your pendulum, is really important. So there's also an art to how you ask a question. So working with a pendulum, it's really easy to get started. And that's what we love about this tool. It's for everybody. Anybody can use it. However, there is a lot that you want to know in order to use the pendulum ethically as well as accurately. So we have a whole section on troubleshooting in the book as well.
Yeah, so should we get going and show everybody how to calibrate a pendulum if they don't already?
Absolutely. And also, if you have some kind of pendant or necklace, if you don't have a pendulum handy, you can also use that. Anything weighted on a string can be a pendulum, can be used as a pendulum. We just believe that they should be, special to you, like a piece of jewelry, like an heirloom, because again, when you're connected with it, you're going to be so much more likely to pick it up and use it. So, all right. You ready?
Yeah.
Do you want a demo?
I will demo. Okay. Yeah, it is a very simple practice to get your pendulum calibrated. So here's a pendulum that I'm holding, and these are two pendulums that Lana and I have crafted, and we love pendulums, as you can tell. We're total pendulum dorks.
Well, there are tools of choice. There are many tools that you can use. However, a pendulum is really accessible, and it gives you a very visual and clear answer. Okay, so that's what we love about it.
So what you want to do is you want to start by holding the pendulum in your dominant hand, right? So I'm right-handed. I'm holding it in my right hand. And if you're left-handed, you may be comfortable if you're in your left hand. If you're ambidextrous, just use your intuition. But remember, if you switch hands, you will have to recalibrate your pendulum, because your yes may be different in your opposite hand and your no may be different in your opposite hand. So always remember to calibrate for yes.
But it is important to hold it in your dominant hand. And if you're not sure, you can always ask the pendulum once you do get a yes.
Yeah. So in order to get your yes, all you do is ask, show me my yes.
Please show me my yes. I like to hold my other non-dominant hand underneath, because I feel like it helps me stabilize the energy. And everybody's yes and no is unique to them. That's why we are calibrating the pendulum. So for me, as you can see, my yes always goes back and forth, and Karina's actually goes in a clockwise circle.
That is my yes.
Yours might be a little different.
So whatever it is, it's all good. Just remember your movement. So now that you've gotten your yes, all you need to do is ask for your no. So go ahead and ask, show me my no.
Please show me my no. Mine goes side to side for no. Karina's goes back and forth for no.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear in the chat what kind of movements you're getting.
Yeah. So
someone's cat is trying to play with her pendulum.
So cute. So yeah, so once you get your yes and your no, those are your movements. What we always recommend is if you are new to the practice, you just want to get comfortable with how your pendulum works with your energy and how it moves in your hand. So we always recommend ask a few questions you know the answer to. For example, am I wearing black today? And that is my yes, because I am wearing black today.
I like to say, is my name Lana? Something I know the yes answer to that's super simple. It could be like, did I have coffee for breakfast? Just anything, like the yes answer to. And really the purpose of this is just to get really clear and comfortable on your movements. Mm-hmm. You can do the same thing with a no question. So I can say, is my name Karina? And see how it just switched to no.
Yeah.
And it's really, usually it's nice to be able to rest your elbow on a hard surface. I'm holding my arm up here just so I can get the pendulum in the camera, but you want to hold your hand very still. You're not moving your hand.
Right. So, and that's why, whenever we are working with our clients, we always want to get a pendulum in their hands, because we can demo this for you all day long. But the magic really, truly transpires when you are holding a pendulum in your hand. You're asking, please show me my yes.
But you want to also
please show me my no.
Feel the pendulum, feel its energy. It is possible to pick out a pendulum online as well. Absolutely no problem. Just really tap into that intuition. You'll know when you find the right one, when you see the right one. But yeah, it is really nice, especially when pendulums are made with different crystals and gemstones, because crystals have a lot of healing properties, and pendulums can be made from just about anything. Some people prefer using wood, some people prefer using metal. We love crystals and different kinds of metals because of the healing properties that the crystals bring.
Yeah, like for example, this right here is a shungite pendulum with clear quartz, and shungite is very protective and very grounding, and clear quartz is a great amplifier. So anything that you want to amplify and send out to the universe working with clear quartz is a great idea. And we do talk about crystals and gemstones in our book quite extensively, but really, what we are going to encourage you to do is to continuously trust your intuition. Whatever it is that you're drawn to is always a great sign of what is right for you. Mm-hmm. So if there's a certain crystal pendulum that you are absolutely in love with, and that means that you're bonded and connected with it. And all we encourage you to do is to have that bond and to have that connection, because when you start using your pendulum on a regular basis, your life will begin to change. We use it for anything as big or small as is a time to go through that drive-through at Starbucks to get a coffee, or you can use it for something really major, like is a time to put my 9 to 5 and start my own spiritual business. But whatever it is that you're curious about, always remember the answers are within you.
So a couple of tips on just how to hold your pendulums. Really, it's about being comfortable. I like to hold the pendulum from the top here like this. Depending on the length of your chain, some people like to drape the pendulum like this. And other people like to hold the pendulum with their thumb and their middle finger. Your middle finger has a meridian running through it, so there's a lot of energy in your middle finger that runs through. So it's really, again, just about being comfortable. A pendulum practice is a practice, just like your, yoga practice or anything else. So you really want to tailor it to you. We really encourage you to find what works for you as far as where to hold the pendulum and what's comfortable for you. So as far as asking questions, just a couple of tips that we want to share. Oftentimes, most often, we hear people start their question with should. Should I go to dinner with Eric? Should can be very subjective. Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. A better way to frame up your question to get an accurate response from yourself is to ask, is it in my highest good to go to dinner with Eric? Or is it in my best interest? Is it optimal for me to go to dinner with Eric? Or whatever your question might be. Another just tip as far as asking questions go, do you have other ones that you want to share?
Absolutely. And what we always encourage is, rather than asking questions about the future, we always encourage you to focus on the present moment and focus on what is most optimal for you in this very present moment. So, is it optimal for me in this present moment to go and do yoga, as an example? Whatever it is that you're trying to decide, just focus in on what is available to you right here and now. Also, focus on yourself. So rather than, wondering, does Eric want to have dinner with me tomorrow night? Go and ask a question about, is it optimal for me to go have dinner with Eric tomorrow night? So keep it about yourself. And the reason, not about somebody else.
Yeah, because we don't know what somebody else is thinking or believing. We are not in their subconscious, and it's not really ethical to ask about other people and what they're doing unless you have their permission. We have some advanced courses and things like that in terms of working with somebody else's higher self in order to tap in and get answers. But you always want to have somebody's permission before you ask questions pertaining to them. And yeah, keeping it in the present moment is really important because the future is really fluid. We don't know what the future holds. And when we keep it to the present, we know that it's that one data point in time. You may ask the same question the following week, and you might get a different response based on what's happened in your life. We're constantly growing, we're constantly changing, we're constantly evolving. So try to keep it in the present moment. It's okay to say something like, is it optimal for me to attend Julie's wedding in Arizona next year or, in 2025? That's okay. You're trying to get, information around whether, it's right for you to do that. Just keep in mind that you are guiding yourself along your journey the entire way. So keep checking in with yourself, keep guiding yourself. Your pendulum practice, you can use it just about every day for any questions that you have in your life. There are so many various uses for pendulums and how you can use it. We do get into that in the book as well.
And I love the comment, I have different pendulums for different purposes.
That's great.
We of course do too. So yeah, I've got one pendulum that's really all about, my business decisions. I got another one that's all about, things I want to make decisions as far as like my family. Another one that I do a lot of energetic work and clearing work. So yeah, Lana, how about you? You've got a bunch of pendulums as well, right?
I have a very special pendulum that I use for kind of deeper work, some of the bigger questions in life. I keep a pendulum next to my, my space where I have coffee in the morning, in case I need some answers early in the morning. I have a pendulum with me all the time in my purse. We also make something called a pendulace. So this is a necklace that converts into a pendulum. So, if you're having a real hard time, deciding what to order on the menu at the restaurant, you have a pendulum handy right there. But
it comes in very,
so that's
very handy.
Great comment. Another really good question is, do I need to cleanse a pendulum? So yeah, I think with that, let's just get into the Q&A because we have about 5 minutes left. Yes, absolutely. You do need to cleanse your pendulum. Especially if they're made with crystals and gemstones. Crystals absorb energy. They absorb your energy as well as those around you, the collective. So your crystals can get stagnant and your pendulum can get stagnant. You absolutely want to cleanse and charge your pendulum when you first bring it home because it may have absorbed energy from wherever it was in transit or whoever, was responsible for handling it. So definitely cleanse and charge your pendulum. There are a lot of great and easy ways to do that. We love using selenite. We like to smoke cleanse.
Yes. Like laying it on a piece of selenite is always a really good idea.
Definitely. You can always charge up your pendulum too, because if your pendulum starts to maybe not work as well or not as strong for some reason, give it a good charge. You can do that in the moonlight, especially during a new moon or a full moon. You can do that in the sunlight. We don't recommend, with these kinds of pendulums that are these are like jewelry. You don't want to leave it in the sun too long. But there are so many different ways to cleanse and charge. So that is a great question. And yes, you absolutely do.
Yeah. I love the question. Does a pendulum have an expiration date? Sometimes when a pendulum has really done the service for you and is finished with the service, you may notice that a pendulum might break or a pendulum might disappear. And that is a good sign that, yes, their service to you has finished and it's time for a new pendulum.
Wow. Janet says, I have a pendulum that went through a house fire and survived. It has the most amazing energy. That is really, really cool. We have seen it all. Well, maybe not everything, but we have seen many stories firsthand. These are just divine tools. They really, really are. They're so special, especially if you are connected and bonded with it. And they have a life of their own. And actually, many times they say your pendulum picks you. Yeah. You don't pick the pendulum. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And we're really glad that it survived that fire.
Yeah.
Let's see what other questions do we have here.
And we love educating people about pendulums and teaching you how to go deeper in your practice. So if you are curious as to how you might want to just get going in your practice or really truly like go in and do some deeper work, whether it's cleansing energy in your body or cleansing energy in other people or in spaces, or working with your chakras or emotion code, we are more than happy. We would be delighted to work with you. We are both certified life coaches. We coach with and without the pendulum. So
we prefer with.
Yeah, because we think you'll get faster results. But we are here for you on your journey. Whatever questions you have, do not hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, I think we have time for maybe just one more question. Carrying your pendulum with you before you use it, wouldn't it pick up all the energy around you? Well, that's a great question. And I think you just touched on the fact that you can always clear your pendulum. There is a way to do that. You can clear the energy around you very easily with a pendulum. It's a great way to use the pendulum. And there are so many other ways to use the pendulum. You can check for whether you have food sensitivities with the pendulum. You can find missing objects with the pendulum. We like to use our pendulum to prioritize for our business. We select how we travel using a pendulum and which shows things we attend. We have a rate sheet actually that we'd be happy to share with anybody if they're curious.
And our book covers a ton of this as well. So yeah, it also has a bunch of great helpful charts.
Yeah. So somebody did ask what to do if you have tremors or if your hand shakes a lot. That's tough because you want to try to keep your hand very still. Some people, what they'll do is they will hold their hand or their elbow really, the other hand with their other hand. And that can help stabilize a little bit too. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit. So here's how you can get in touch with us. There are various ways that we can work together, but we invite you to visit our website, drop us a note. You can send us an email anytime. You can connect with us over social media, and follow us. We are just here to spread the message that everybody has the power to answer their own questions within themselves. You don't need to go outside of yourself for your validation. It's all within you. And the pendulum is the most amazing tool that you can use to access all that wisdom.
And when you are answering all the questions, you are tapping into your personal truth. And when you live your life through your truth, You make your life so much better, and you also make the world a much better place.
Thank you all so much for being here with us today. We
love
appreciate
you.
all of you.
Thank you, and thank you, Llewellyn.